Okay, everyone who is joining us in the boardroom and on Zoom for the regular Monterey Salinas Transit District Board of Directors meeting of September 11, 2023. Commissioners joining us remotely will be Council Member Carlos De Leon, and he will be listed as Steve Adams on the screen, and also Commissioner Alejo will be joining us. During today's meeting, the public has several options to participate. They may join in person in the board conference room, join the meeting via Zoom. The meeting ID is located on the agenda, and it is 845-0083-6234, passcode 652252, or they may join by telephone at 669-900-6833 using the same ID and passcode as on Zoom. The Zoom phone commands, *6 is to unmute yourself, which will, if you hit *6, Jeanette will let you into the meeting. And the *9 would be the raise hand, to raise your hand if you'd like to comment. So with that, I will go ahead and call this meeting to order at 10:07. And the meeting of the Monterey Salinas Transit District Board of Directors. And Jeanette, will you call roll, please?
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Here.
City of Delray Oaks. Here. City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield. Here. City of King. Carlos De Leon.
Here.
Thank you. City of Marina.
Here.
City of Monterey.
Here.
City of Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of Sand City.
Here.
City of Salinas.
We're here.
City of Seaside.
Here.
City of Soledad. Absent. County of Monterey.
I believe they're on mute. Or that's board, yes. RM.
County of Monterey, Luis Alejo. Did I hear, yes, you're here?
Nope.
Okay, you might be running late. Okay, we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Jeanette. With that, we have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I was wondering if Director Pacheco would do us the honors in leading us.
Please join in. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, Director Pacheco. And with that, today marks 9/11. So I know that there are a lot of ceremonies going on today, so we'll keep that in mind. Okay, with that, we have review agenda highlights, Mr. Carl Sadora.
Yes, thank you, Chair. If you move to the consent agenda, we missed a meeting. So this meeting is the agenda is misleadingly long. Don't let this length of this agenda fool you to think this is not necessarily going to be a long meeting. But on the consent agenda, we have 2 employees of the month. You've got 2 financial reports for June and July. Among the other items, we have an extension of a contract for our security guard services at our MST facilities. We have an extension on item 3.9, a 5-year contract for uniform and cleaning. We also have a resolution for your board to adopt for authorizing us to get the Volkswagen Environmental Mitigation Trust Funds funding and allowing us to apply for that for zero emission, low emission type of projects. We also have a resolution authorizing me to act on behalf of MST for our transit and intercity rail capital program money, which we're set to receive about $25 million in from SURF, so we need that resolution to get that. Later on the agenda, you'll receive an update on our most recent, it's our biannual, every 2 year MST rider and non-rider surveys. I think you'll find that very interesting, what our riders and non-riders think of MST. You'll get a very brief update on the status of litigation against MST regarding the SURF. And when you hear that update, you'll find out why it's very brief. And then we have an agreement to execute an agreement with our neighbor to the north, Santa Clara VTA in the San Jose area, to help co-fund services from Salinas to Gilroy starting at the end of October. And that concludes
Still there?
the closed session.
Oh, I see it.
We have a conference with property negotiators regarding a parcel on the former Fort Ord. We have a recommendation for the review of the incentive pool for MSTEA and confidential units. And then item 10.3 was the general manager performance evaluation. But based on us missing a few board members and another board member who's here that may leave early before we get there. Tony, you're still leaving at 11 today?
Yeah, but I'm gonna see you.
Okay, and Chair Velasquez is recommending that we push this item to the October meeting
Oh,
for the performance evaluation so that no one feels pressed for time. And so that since we had 100% participation from all the board members, I think all the board members want to be here for that.
Right.
Right now, it's just not happening today.
thank you.
And we built an extra month into the process,
Mhm.
anticipating something like this. So we're good. That concludes my review of the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Carl. With that, I will open this up for public comments on matters not on the agenda. So any member of the public may address the board of directors on items not appearing on the agenda. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes, and if you will please be brief and to the point. The board will not respond immediately, but may choose to follow up at a later time. And as a reminder, to make public comments on Zoom, please use the raised hand feature, which is *9. And on your screen, so we can unmute and recognize you. So at this time, public comment is open on items not on the agenda at this time. Items on the agenda, we will open it up for public comment at that time.
I do not see anyone on Zoom with their hand raised for a matter not on the agenda. And I do not see anyone in the room stepping up to the dais, so I think we're good.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and close public comment and we'll move on to the consent calendar. And this is items 3.1 through 3.14. And at this time, any directors wishing to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion or comment may do so at this time. Is there anyone? If I do have, I would like to pull for comments 3-5A and B and 3.9 and 3.12, just for clarification and some questions. So is it okay to talk about those first before we could take one motion?
Yes, at the prerogative of the chair, you can do that.
Okay, so with that, item, thank you, Mr. Laredo. So with that, I did have a question on 3-5AB, and that was regarding interest payments. This is regarding the TIFIA prepaid interest of $32,693. So I was wondering, I know that I remember we talked about this in that during the months of January and July, there was going to be a little bit higher payments, and I was wondering if you could maybe explain that. So on the TIFIA prepaid interest, I think it has I seen on page 26 that it looked like it was listed at $32,693. And so I was wondering, is there a change in both those amounts?
No, the TIFIA interest is a fixed 0.78%. Like 40-year fixed 5-year deferred loan that we got through the federal government. And we're fixed at that amount, and we have a holding account that we have to show that we're funding our principal and interest payments to TIFIA, and it's part of the structure. So that amount does not change, which is a good thing, because we hit the very bottom of the market on that one.
Okay. And then that was one question. The next one was let's see. Sorry, the next one was 3.9. And this was regarding the 5-year contract with Cintas uniform and linen services. The amount not to exceed $1,082,500. And is it, so this is the cost for 5 years, for the total 5 years?
Yes,
Okay. And so that means it's probably running about 2,000 per year.
about
200,000 per year.
200,000 per year.
Okay, and just how many employees? I know we have a lot.
Yeah, that take part of the uniform, I'm gonna say about 135.
No,
Kelly,
no,
go ahead.
I'll take this one.
I was like, which one? Kelly Halkin, Director of Human Resources and Risk. This is mechanics, inventory clerks, the fleet supervisors, and our USPs. Am I missing one? Oh, and facility techs. So that's about 60 to 70 individuals. Yeah. This is not for the drivers. The drivers get their uniforms. They have a uniform and cleaning allowance, and they purchase their own uniforms at another place. Cintas is just for the maintenance shop.
Okay,
Yeah, it also includes rags, towels, shop towels, and then other
Max.
mats. Yeah.
Okay,
rugs.
I thought it was gonna be quite a different items. Okay. And that was just for a question. And then on 312, this is regarding the surf. And I believe that we're applying for the Volkswagen grant.
Correct.
And with that there, my question is, so there was 2 million, I believe 2,000,005, 2,000,006 in trust fund monies available for local match for replacing 12 biofuel buses with 12 battery electric buses. And I noticed that it says 50% of the funding would be for low income and disadvantaged communities. And I'm wondering, are we included there for surf?
Yes,
Okay. And that was it. So that was just questions I had, so.
so with that, if your questions have been asked, we can perhaps move forward with the consent agenda.
Thank you. So with that, yes, questions are done.
Mhm.
And I will open it up to the public. So public comment is open.
I do not see anyone with their hands raised.
Okay. And no one in the boardroom?
We have a, hold on, Chris. Audio. Okay, they're muted. All right, never mind. Okay, and nobody here in the conference room.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and, thank you, Carol, we'll go ahead and close public comments. And I'm looking for a motion for
Move to
approval.
approve. Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Jeanette, did you get the second?
I didn't get the second.
I believe Joe might have been
tied.
tied.
You get it.
They could toss a coin.
Let's flip a coin here.
Yes. Okay, so you had that and then roll call vote.
Motion by, first motion by Rivera, second by Emilio. Okay, the city of Carmel by the Sea,
Yes.
city of Del Rey Oaks.
Yes.
City of Gonzales.
Yes.
City of Greenfield, city of King,
Yes.
city of Marina,
Yes.
city of Monterey,
Yes.
city of Pacific Grove, city of Salinas.
Yes.
City of Sand City,
Yes.
city of Seaside,
Yes.
city of Soledad's absent, county of Monterey. Jasmine, I see that you're on the line. Is Supervisor Alejo on?
Hi, Supervisor Alejos is not on at the moment. He's attending still the 9/11 event, and he should be joining in about 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you for confirming.
Mhm.
Okay, the motion does pass.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to recognitions and 4-1. We have August 2023 Employee of the Month, Johanna Reeves, Mobility Specialist, and Christy. She's gonna give a presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, MST Board, MST staff, and members of the public. I'm Christy Sugabo, Mobility Services Manager. So I would like to introduce Johanna Reyes as the selected Employee of the Month for August. Johanna began her career at MST in 2019 as a mobility assistant, and then was later promoted to mobility specialist in 2021. So since her promotion, Johanna's responsibility has been to provide support in many of the programs administered by MST's mobility department. During the pandemic shelter in place, Johanna provided support in the wellness check-in calls to homebound seniors, which resulted in more than 1,000 phone calls placed to our community members. And she also volunteered her time to help MST's Human Resource Department when the department was shorthanded. So in Johanna's current role, she oversees the taxi voucher program, a transportation options for seniors, veterans, and persons with disabilities. Her duties include reconciling, auditing taxi vouchers for reimbursement payment. In FY23, Johanna reconciled a total of 47,151 vouchers, which is a lot. And doing such work requires close attention to details, one of her many skills. Also, she is the key person who ensures the taxi cab drivers complete and maintain their taxi ADA certification training as required by the Monterey County Regional Transportation Authority. And that's not all. Johanna also manages her time very well. So when she's not doing work for the taxi voucher program, she provides support in the MST rights program, assisting with client interviews and processing eligibility. So on behalf of the mobility team members, who are actually, with the exception of one, are all here today, and MST, please join me in congratulating Johanna for her outstanding performance and dedication toward the success of MST in fulfilling its mission.
Thank you. I just want to say that I wrote a little speech because I was going to get nervous. I'm truly humbled to be recognized as Employee of the Month. Growing up, I was taught that my work represents me. Therefore, I work hard and strive to give my best every day. I enjoy what I do and I feel passionate about the work that my team and I do in mobility. The cherry on top was being selected Employee of the Month. First of all, I would like to thank my manager, Christy Sugabo, for her continuous support and also encourage me to step out of my comfort zone and help me grow as a professional. I would also like to thank my supervisor and mobility team for being there for me. This recognition is not only for me, but for my colleagues, Claudia, Leslie, Kelly, and Kayla, because together as a team, we make mobility a success. In addition, I would like to give a shout out to CSR's Daisy, Izzy, Rolando, Jacqueline, and Pamela for their hard work and support to the mobility. I am truly blessed to be part of MST and be surrounded by great people who are passionate about their work and want to make a difference in our community. Thank you.
There we go. And a plaque, let's just make sure I have the right one. Okay, yeah. So you heard some comments from Council member, board member Barrera about Christy and her leadership, and I think you just saw an example of the great work this group does, and Johanna, and the fact that her whole team came here to support her. You know, this group supports some of our most vulnerable passengers, seniors, persons with disabilities, veterans, people who historically have lacked access to mobility. And so I couldn't be more proud of the work that this team does. And you saw a great presentation in your operations committee meeting about everybody that they're serving. So it's a great honor to present you with your Employee of the Month pen and a plaque, and you should have already received your check.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much. I don't know that we go around.
Yeah, that's what I was
If we do that anymore, but
Yes,
does the board want to
I think that would
bump
be,
fists? and
I
things
think,
like
I
that?
think that would be
Okay.
great. And I wanted to thank you also for your commitment to MST personally.
Thank you for your hard work. Good speech. too. Get your white on.
Yes.
Madam Chair, Can I request that their team could pick up?
I was gonna.
Get that together right now.
Okay.
Come up and we get the whole mobility team here. We're gonna take it right here. And yeah, you're the star. And you're the star. There you go. Right. Okay. We'll see if I can make that here. Okay. Got it? Great, thank you. Oh, wait, there's more. We have, because we were gone for a month, we've got another employee of the month, right? So that is, Reynaldo Hernandez, Margette Henderson will be, presenting our August employee of the month.
Thank you. September. Yes, September. Good morning. I'm Margette Henderson, Transportation Manager with MST. Today, I would like to introduce and welcome Reynaldo Hernandez, Coach Operator. To some of you, some of our board, he may be a familiar face. Why? Because not only has Reynaldo been with us for 34 years, Reynaldo has also been recognized for Employee of the Month in October 2019, February 2000, November 1994, and Employee of the Year in 2019. So what brings us here today is that Reynaldo has had 29 years of safety driving award. That's what it says in the agenda. Reynaldo has a pin in his pocket that says 34 years. So we're gonna look into that. It's 29 years. Okay. Thank you. Anyhow, if you were to open up a dictionary somewhere that said exemplary MST coach operator, you might see Reynaldo's face in there. That's how well regarded Reynaldo is for me, and I think for his peers and his supervisors. Not only is 34 years of being a coach operator an accomplishment in itself, but with the accolades and recognition and the safe driving 29 years of, or 34 years of safe driving that Ronaldo has demonstrated with us. It's quite an accomplishment. So I'll just keep it brief and leave it at that. Please join me in congratulating Ronaldo for Employee of the Month, September 2023.
I would just like to say thank you to MST. Thank you to the community for providing the opportunity and the platform to be able to do what I really truly enjoy doing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
With that, again, decades of safe driving. That's hundreds of thousands of people that he's delivered safely over the years, millions of miles traveled. With that, I'd like to present you with your Employee of the Month, another Employee of the Month pen. You can probably decorate your kitchen with all that. And then also, yes, we've got the correct plaque here. Thank you, Ronaldo.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care. And go say hi to the board.
Thank you. So much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Take my place.
Thank you so much. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. So
Thank you
been a
very much.
joy. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hopefully they will be best.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't happen on social media. It never happened, right?
All right.
Thank you. That concludes our
Okay,
recognitions.
and there is no item 5, so we'll move to item 6. 6.1, and this is action items. So 6.1 is to receive a presentation of the MST rider and non-rider safety rider survey. And Ikuyo is here to give us a presentation. And page 71 in your agenda is the item.
Thank you. Good morning, directors, staff, members of the public. My name is Ikuyo Yoneda Lopez. I am the marketing communications manager here at MST. It's great to be here. I'm going to do this a little bit because I'm getting old and it's different. This and that is different. So this year, I'm presenting on the rider and non-rider survey. As Carl mentioned earlier, typically we go out every 2 years to do the survey. However, with the pandemic, changed things a little bit. And so we delayed that. And in 2022, we executed the non-rider survey. And in 2023, in May, we executed the rider survey. So we kind of split it up. It worked better because the Better Bus Network was also launched in December of 2022. And so I think it was an opportunity to kind of capture the community's response to the Better Bus Network. So next slide, please. So we work with an organization called ETC Institute out of Kansas City. They're a consultant that works with a ton of government agencies, public transit agencies across the country. You can see on the map where they have connections to, I guess, for this group, names like VTA, LA Metro, Valley Metro out of Arizona, DART in Texas. Those are some of the agencies that they also work with. So they have a lot of experience in this field. Next slide, please. So here are some of the highlights that I will share with you today. There's a lot more, but these are kind of what stood out. Next slide, please. And one more. Thank you. So the purpose of the survey, this is kind of the why. Why do we do this? I think it's a good practice to understand who our riders are. So who are our riders? Are they happy with our service, with the experience? You know, how are we doing? What can we do better? I think a lot of times we hear about frequency being feedback from passengers about what they want. And we work on that, believe us, we do. But I think something that we need to keep in mind is the experience of the passengers we have. And that's something we keep top of mind all the time, is we can't lose focus of that because we're always working on trying to increase frequency. We need to make sure the experience is positive and we're providing the community with what they need. Next slide, please. So the methodology, this is kind of the how. 566 total surveys were completed. So the writer surveys, what they call in industry as intercept. So there's representatives from the consultant that go out in the community to the transit locations, on buses, and talk to people, talk to passengers. And ETC developed the sampling plan, and to ensure that we're kind of connecting with all the right people, we made sure that the ridership numbers were looked at before they went out to make sure that we're getting representation from all the lines that we provide. Next slide, please. So here's our first topic, the characteristics. So who are our riders? Next slide, please. So MST serves people of all ages. This was interesting and kind of shows us where our opportunities lie. I think looking at past surveys, the numbers remain pretty stable, except in one age group, which was a 35 to 44 age group. We've seen a pretty significant increase in that age group of riders. Are they employees? You know, working class, you know, working people? They're not young students. But I feel like this is one group that is increased pretty significantly. All other age groups stayed pretty much the same from previous surveys that we've executed. Next slide, please. So this was which of the following best describes your race. You can see that we have about a 59% Hispanic or Latino, Latina, Latinx population riding our service. And this is kind of representative. It's interesting. I looked at the census data from Monterey County, and it's pretty much in line with that data. So I thought that was really interesting and eye-opening for me. Next slide, please. How long have people been using MST? And this one is no surprise. We have a large population of folks that have been using MST for over 10 years. That's a long time. This is how they get around. This is how they connect to work, to school, to shopping. And so we have a large, committed, dedicated group of passengers. And so it's great, tells me something. We're doing something well, and for people to keep writing MST. Next slide. A large population, the majority of our passengers don't have a driver's license. Whether it's age or inability because of a disability, they are unable to drive. And so they do rely on our service to connect them to life. Next slide, please. This was a little bit eye-opening for me. I knew our numbers were high of passengers that come from low-income households, but we found through this survey that 91% of our respondents come from households with annual income of $60,000 or less. I'm not sure if that increased during the pandemic. It may have, but that's a large percentage of our ridership. And I think we can keep that in mind as we communicate with our passengers and what we're offering our passengers, is that they come from low-income households. Next slide, please. And one more. Thank you. How many days a week do you typically ride MST? With our next question. And 44% of our respondents ride 5 to 7 times a week. That's pretty frequent. Even after the pandemic, you know, a lot of different agencies have said, oh, our numbers have gone down because people do remote work. That's kind of different in our area. Workers in our area don't have that option a lot of times. Hospitality, agriculture, it's not work that you can do from home. And so these essential employees have to continue to get to work. And luckily MST can provide that service for them. Next slide, please. So this was no surprise to us. The number one reason why people use MST is to get to work. Surprising though, was the shopping number. A lot of people use MST to go shopping. And if you think about it, it is a part of a, basic need in everyone's life. You need to go get groceries. You need to feed your families. And so going shopping, going to the grocery stores is critical. And we are able to provide people with that connection. Next slide, please. So this next question, we're curious to see how many buses people had to take to get to where they need to go. And 68% of our riders make at least one transfer, which means at least 2 buses. I think I've experienced this, I've witnessed this as I take the 20 in from Salinas sometimes. There's people that get to Salinas from South County before that. I think I have to get on early. These folks are getting on in South County, coming to Salinas, transferring and getting to Monterey Peninsula. So that's quite a ways to get to work, to get to school. And yeah, it's a long time. And so we need to be aware of that as well. They do a lot, they go through a lot to get to where they need to go. Next slide, please. We learned that 80% of our riders usually walk to their first stop. This is interesting too, because, as we think about different stops in the future, different lines, there really is no need for parking and those kinds of issues. I think most of our passengers literally walk to their stop. So that's really positive. Next slide, please. And one more. So this here, the numbers on the left are really positive. Respondents rated our bus drivers driving, their overall impression, the cleanliness. We're way above national average numbers. And these numbers are compiled by the Institute, our consultant. It's a nationwide survey they execute every year. The one area that we're above, but very close, is bus frequency. And as I mentioned earlier, that's kind of a trend. Everyone wants more buses, more frequent, and they're looking for that convenience, that ease of riding. But I think it's something to be really proud of. Our operators driving and their overall impression is that high. Next slide, please. Riders are pretty happy with the new fare structure that we launched in December of 2022 with a better bus network, $2 for 2 hours. 78% think it's just right. The 3% that think it's too low, I don't know about that. But the majority think it's just right. There is a small population that think it's too high. But I think we're at a good place right now, and we actually went down from their previous fare, so it is helping people. Next slide, please. So along with that reduction in fare, riders agree that MST services are getting better. 28% strongly agree, 40% agree. We're doing something right. I think our community sees that, recognizes that. Doesn't mean we're going to stop. We'll continue to always strive to do better, but I was pretty pleased with this number. Next slide, please. So obviously people would ride more with increased service hours, later hours, more frequent hours, both on weekdays and weekends. People don't stop working on weekends, especially in hospitality. And it's not a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 job. So a lot of passengers would utilize it if buses ran later or earlier. Next slide, please. And one more. Our riders, like us, care about the environment. They think zero emission buses are important. They think reducing greenhouse gas emissions are important. And that's nice to see that we're all in this together. We all want a better community, a better world by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And so this was a good number. Next slide, please. This one speaks to me kind of in my role specifically, where we learned that 38% of our passengers learn about service changes or any other programs on the bus. So, my team manages social media, and I think we do a nice job. Ursula does a great job with that. However, we need to keep in mind that not everyone's on social media. Not everyone relies on social media to get their information. And we need to try to cater to how our community receives their information. And this is telling me that on the bus is where they get it. So whether it's car cards, which are those paper signs on the buses, or even through their drivers, they ask. It's easy, it's comfortable to, you know, as you board, hey, does this one go to Monterey? Or hey, when's the next one coming? I think a lot of people feel comfortable approaching it that way. And so to me, it helps me to keep in mind how to communicate, where I need to put the messages out there, because not everyone gets them on social media. Next slide, please. Disabilities. 20% of our riders have a physical disability that causes them to be dependent on others for transportation. So this may not be rides eligible passengers. However, they do have a physical disability that prevents them from driving their own vehicle. And our drivers help with the wheelchair lifts, help secure them, help them pay the correct fare, help them every step of the way as they ride, so that they can get to where they need to go. And so this is something definitely we keep in mind every day as we get out there. Next slide, please. I'm going to move to the non-rider survey. So this is a community survey where we talk to the community in general, not necessarily riders. We went out with mailings in our region. We did some social media posts and just mailed random households letters. And then there's an option to go online and complete the survey as well. And everything was done in English and Spanish, just so that you're all aware. Next slide, please. So value. 95% of residents that don't take the bus believe that MST's services are valuable to the community.
We're one slide behind on the screens, just
Oh.
letting our.
Oh,
IT
okay, sorry.
people know.
Next slide.
There we go.
Thank you. So yeah, 95%, that's, I take that grade in class. 95% think that we are valuable. They don't use a bus, but they think it's important. And that's, to me, huge, because the majority of our community doesn't take the bus. Our passenger, the majority doesn't, but they still think it's important and they care. And I think that's really critical. You know, they see the economic impacts, the environmental impacts, and how we contribute to this community. And so, yay to us, yay to transit. Next slide, please. Perception of MST. So everyone feels public transportation is important to a thriving community. The interesting thing to me was, though, that 75% of residents would prefer to drive than to use public transit. And I understand that because it's not for everybody all the time. It's challenging. However, if we can try to convince our residents to try transit once a week, once a month even, that makes a difference. And who knows, we might get some fans that enjoy it and continue it. And I think all those little pieces add up to a big improvement in the end for everybody. Next slide, please. So factors that would encourage our residents, our non-riders, to use MST, obviously frequency. Again, we come back to frequency. If it were more frequent, if they can get to their destinations quicker, they would consider using MST. It's not always easy to do. And we do our best with what we have, but everyone would like more. Something else that I wanted to highlight is, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th item down. If my employer provided incentives to use public transportation services, that was a pretty high ranking number for very likely. So I think there's opportunity to connect with our public and private other companies out there and agencies out there to encourage their employees to use public transit. Maybe it's subsidizing a bus fare, something, increasing parking for their employees so that they're more likely to use public transit, something. But I think there's definitely opportunity to work with others in our community to spread the word about public transit. Next slide, please. Likelihood of using different service types, whether it's Uber and Lyft types of services or door-to-door shuttles. A large population did identify high-speed rapid bus service would encourage members of their household to use transportation like the surf. Projects like that, hopefully will encourage people in our community to try it. That's what they're telling us here anyway. Next slide, please. Funding. As I said, these are non-riders. These are people that don't take the bus, but nearly 84% of residents believe funding for public transportation should increase in the next 5 years. They see the value. They see the importance of it in our community. Whether they use it or not, they still see it as important. I think that's great for us. Support from funding is a good sign. They understand how important it is. Next slide, please. This kind of expands on that, improving public transit, improving the network, improving BRT type services. That's important investments in our community. The respondents see that as something critical. It's higher than building new roads and widening existing roads, to me, which is positive. We can't continue to just widen roads. Let's invest in public transit in this network. Next slide, please. And next slide. So we've come to the end of my presentation. I think just to summarize, this is great. This is positive. The news was good. We're doing well. People know about MST and the value we add to the community. I think we should continue doing this, more of this. Whether it's good or bad or ugly, the feedback is valuable. We need to learn about it. We need to know about it, because if we don't know to fix it. We don't know to improve it. We think we know. I think we've been pretty good about figuring that out. But constant communication and connections with our community is the only thing that's going to kind of keep us meeting their needs. And so through outreach, through more surveys, we will continue talking and connecting with people. And that brings me to the end. I'm happy to answer any questions. Now I'll get my glasses back on so I can see you.
Director Worthy.
And I'm on the Zoom now. Supervisor Alejo, thank you.
Am I speaking? Just want to make sure. Mine isn't really a question, it's more of a comment.
Okay.
And I want to thank Ikuyu and Ursula for coming to Gonzales and working with us to try to figure out what's going on with our ridership. She has been very creative in trying to figure out ways for why this isn't happening as it should, by utilizing different avenues, because we had a discussion about social media and how many of our residents do not use social media. Carmen, who is our city manager, and I have been really kind of watching if people are writing a little more. So I'm curious to see what the data shows in the next couple of months.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you because, it's nice to come up with different ideas to figure out ways. And I love to watch our residents. We also have a food pantry that we do every month, twice a month. And we actually have an MST bus that drives some of our residents to the pantry.
That's great.
Which is really always positive, and we're always there to accommodate. Here comes the MST bus. So that's a very positive thing for us. So
No,
I just want to thank you.
Oh, no, you're
for your help
welcome.
on this, and we're going to keep working.
Yes,
So
we will
thank you.
continue. Thank you so much,
Mhm,
Lauren.
You bet.
Thank you, Lorraine. With that, any other directors, attorney?
Well, again, I concur. Congratulations. And I saw a nice commercial with your city manager on MST. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic that the number one reason people ride the bus is to go to work. How do you see, and I know we were talking about being there on time, and I guess you're doing a great job. Do you see a lot of I'm just kind of curious, do you see people coming from Monterrey to Salinas to work, or more Salinas to the peninsula?
My just personal experience, I ride the 20 in. There's a lot of people. I don't know about going back. The same people that I ride with coming to work in the morning, I see most of them coming back to Salinas after. The buses are full. And these are people that work. I can just, I've only chatted with a few, but it's the same people. Hospitality, that I see that connect in Salinas to Monterey Transit Plaza, and they go to Carmel.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going to Carmel because they're wearing uniforms with their hotel name on their name tag. And so I see those buses full. I don't know about the numbers going from Monterey to Salinas. I don't think they would be as full, but I know there's students that do visit Hartnell College
Yeah.
in the morning. I do see that.
You know, and the other question I have, work related, I got on the bus going to Watsonville from Salinas, one morning. How about the students? You know, I noticed in Las Lomas, in those rural areas, I mean, the bus gets full of students going to school in Watsonville. How do you, in your survey, were some of these students as well, did any idea if they participated?
Yeah, they did. So it was a smaller number, but we do have the 5 to under 18 population that were interviewed. It was very small, that were included in the survey. But I think we can, are they high school or college?
High school.
High school, okay, that's different. They don't have the college pass program for high schools, but we can look at that and see. I know that in Monterey, a lot of Monterey high school students after school at Monterey Transit Plaza are there waiting to go to Seaside and to Marina, because a lot of them do live in Seaside and Marina, and they go to Monterey High. So we do see that, a lot of students.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair. I think Mr. Sodori is looking up because in one of the reports, one of the many reports, I saw, I think for Marina, the number of people getting onto the bus is almost equal to going north or south.
Right,
correct?
we tried to, in the new monthly reports, when I get to that later under the GM's report, one of the ad hoc committee's desires was to try to get to that answer. Where are people riding in the mornings? And you can see in Monterey, there's less ridership coming out of Monterey in the morning, assuming those are work trips.
Yeah.
And more trips leaving in the afternoon, assuming we don't have, you know, we're not a factory town where we have night shifts, right? So mostly the AM trips are generally people leaving to go to work or to school, and the PM trips are people returning home. You see in Monterey a pretty big difference there. So that leads us to believe that people are arriving in Monterey in the mornings, and they're leaving in the evenings. Carmel has a similar dynamic going on as well. So that is something that you can discern. And I'll point that out in the new board reports.
Thank you.
And we'll be able to keep track of that over time.
Yeah, just a comment, and I think it's significant to look at what you're talking about is the inflow to Monterey is less, but the outflow is greater. And I know just from some relatives that it's easier for them to drive and drop the kids, and then they go to work. And then after school, it's the after school programs. And then going home on the bus is critical because sports, mom and dad may be still at work. And so the bus is the natural choice with its location downtown. So just anecdotally, it's an interesting comment in terms of, well, we know what it is now, but after the surf bus ridership, we start to monitor that. How does it change in the coming years? So that'll be interesting. I had one comment on your summary page, and very helpful. Thank you very much. Under the category of key findings for rider survey, it looks like to me there's a great opportunity where 38% of the riders learn about service changes and trip planning on the bus. It seems like that's where there's a real opportunity to put our heads together in terms of, well, how opportunities that we pull out of that stat.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's tools like the transit app who people can find where their bus is at. So, you know, they know when to start walking even. There's a go feature, it's called Go, and they are alerted to when you should leave your current location to walk to your stop and when your bus is coming. So there are tools and yeah, definitely outreach. We will continue to work to get the word out.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of progress of late, if I may. in information kiosks, touchscreen kiosks that can be in downtown locations. And I know the city of Salinas is looking at a project, and we're looking at that also with the surf, and may attempt to expand that out into the community. And it would not just be bus information, but community information. Bus information would just be one piece of it, whether it's getting your council agenda or finding social services or finding restaurants or finding your bus route. There's been a recent improvements in those technologies, and our cities are now expressing interest in these types of city center information kiosks that we would definitely want to be part of. So
Yeah.
Very good information, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, just similar to Director Smith's comment, that same slide. I think your comment about making it available to other businesses in terms of lowering the fares or making it free. I will say I've rode the bus now that I know I can just kind of show my pass. And it's been great. My daughter just started NPC, and so that's how she gets it home sometimes, right? She can get her pass, and it opens up such a variety of, once like, oh, it's easy to get on, you make it really easy. And that just makes it just feels so much more accessible. And so your idea of like branching out to other businesses and, really creating incentives for their employees to ride the bus, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, once you try it,
Yeah, no,
you realize how easy it is and how relaxing it is to sit and work or read while you're on the bus versus stress out because the guy behind you is tailgating you the whole way. It's just, yeah.
One time.
That may be the makings of a good commercial.
We actually had, that was our tagline for our real-time information system, was real time, it's real easy. So maybe we can revisit that in some fashion, for sure.
Elizabeth?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I have another question, or it's first a remark, because I also finally made it onto a bus, or several buses, and that app is fantastic. It really tells you, if you haven't done it yet, it tells you, yeah, you need to start walking now. And unlike the old days when you didn't know, did I miss my bus, or is it somewhere stuck? You can see where your bus is. You can see it coming. So, but my question is, what is the outreach to employers to see if they can offer?
Well, I think we've done some with the Hospitality Association and try to get with their human resources departments to see if they can kind of be the middle people to get to the to the employees, to connect and offer them. We have a group discount program that if you buy more than a certain number of passes per month, you get a discount. The more you buy, up to 35% off. So just making them aware of what's out there and what they can take advantage of. And it might be even a recruiting tool for different companies in the area. Transportation's always a headache for everyone. And so if you can offer this as an incentive when you recruit, who knows?
And we are sponsoring this year. We're the major sponsor for the Hospitality Recognition Luncheon, which is the big employee event for the hospitality group. And so that gives us some inroads into getting into the little employee gift bags information. And we've put Kelly on the committee because that's put together by the human resources officers of the various hotels. So we are trying to make inroads there in hospitality as well.
And do you also contact the new hotels that are not open yet, so that the new employees might be able to start using the bus, right?
I don't believe we're doing that, but that's a good idea.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and so at this time, I believe I heard Director Alejo.
I believe he was announcing that he was here.
Acknowledge that he has.
Yes, I joined in about 10:40. Thank you.
Thank you.
You see him?
Okay, and so with that, if there are no other board questions or comments, we'll open this up to the public. The public comment is open.
I am scanning. I do not see anybody raising their hand to make a comment. I do not see anyone in the public
Okay.
here at the meeting, so I
Thank
think we're
you.
good.
We'll go ahead and close public comment and I would like to thank Ikio for her presentation. And I think that these consultant fees, the $66,000 was well spent.
Thank you.
So, and a lot of positive feedback and positive presentation.
And we're going to reinforce the surveys through our transit app surveys. We do this large effort every other year because frankly, we haven't seen that much change in the responses over time, but we still think it's worthwhile. But in that interval, we are going to be pushing more social and using our app to get information. And you'll see some of that in the new monthly reports as well, where you'll see what our ratings are, how many stars do we have on social media for our different routes. So we're going to continue to fine tune those efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now with that, we will move on to item 6.2, and this is to receive a report of status of litigation against MST on the Surf Busway and Rapid.
Pretty short. Yeah, I think you all got my email. I just did want to make this, public for those who didn't know, because I have found out there are some key stakeholders who did not know this yet. But in late July, we were informed that the it's not Landwatch, the Keep Fort Ord Wild had requested dismissal of their lawsuit, and that dismissal was granted by the Monterey County Superior Courts. And with the similar action taken in February by SNG, the folks that are building the eco resort, there are no longer any lawsuits against the MST surf project, and would like to thank the efforts of not only MST staff, Lisa and Michelle, but Michael Laredo and David Laredo, and then the team that we brought in, the Sahagi group from Los Angeles that helped us make that all happen. It was again, like so many things here, it was a team effort and led us to the best result that we could possibly get, given what it's like to do business in California, especially along the coast in California, even more so. You're going to take a lawsuit on anything, and we got this handled, and we're done. So good news.
Here.
So director comments, I think Carl has summed it up pretty well. Okay. And I am gonna have to open this up to the public. Public comment is open.
My battery on my PC just died, so I'm just gonna look at the screen like this to you. I do not see any public comments on this item.
Okay, and I see no one here in the boardroom, so we'll go ahead and close public comments. Their directors, there's a recommendation to receive the report of status of litigation against MST on the busway and rapid transit project.
Which you received.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to the next item, 6.3, and this is to authorize the general manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority for line 59 Salinas Gilroy for a 2-year partnership in the amount of $128,750. And Michelle is going to give us a quick staff report.
Good morning, board members. Michelle Overmeyer, Director of Planning and Innovation. This morning, I get to ask you to receive money, so that's kind of fun. Item 6.3 is on page 113 of your full agenda package. Since early 2020, there has been no public transit service operating between Monterey and Santa Clara counties. This new service will fill that gap. MST will operate 4 round trips each weekday, providing Monterey County residents with a way to get to the Gilroy Caltrain station. Monterey County passengers can board the line 59 at the Salinas Intermodal Transportation Center, also known as the Amtrak station, the MST Salinas Transit Center, and the Prunedale Park and Ride. The price is $2 for the bus fare, and it's half that if you're a young person, a senior, a person with a disability, or a veteran. So line 59 will begin Monday, October 30th, and it is funded in part by a grant we're receiving from Caltrans. MST's marketing and customer service team has already started the outreach, so the community will know that this is coming. We're finalizing the bus schedule, and we should have that publicly available 2 weeks before the service starts. Like we said, getting information out to the passengers is important, and we're meeting them where they are. So we're going to be working on A-frames, posting those at the locations where the boardings can happen. I think we're also doing car cards. And those should happen early in October, again, so passengers know ahead of time so they can start planning their trips. There are 2 public ribbon cutting events that are going to happen on Monday, October 30th. So mark your calendars. The first one will be at 8 o'clock in the morning at Salinas Transit Center. And the second event will take place in Gilroy in coordination with Santa Clara VTA mid-morning that same day. More specific information on those events will be sent to each of you when we firm up those details. Our team has worked really hard on securing the grant funding for this and creating this partnership with VTA. And we know that there have been customer requests for this type of service. It'll be successful if people use it and they know about it. So I'm asking you all to please share this at your council meetings. You know, when you do your reports out, please include this. And that concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions.
Chair, thank you, Michelle. Do you have a sense of the times of the day? So it sounds like it's 4 times a day. Do we know what those times are?
We're still finalizing that. We'll be connecting with a northbound Caltrain that leaves Gilroy before 7 a.m. And then we're connecting with one that comes back to Gilroy, I think between 6 and 7 p.m. But that final schedule will be ready mid-October.
Okay, and then there'll be 2 in between.
Midday, right?
There'll be 2 midday trips.
Okay,
as well.
Okay, good. Look forward to hearing the schedule and we can announce those.
Yeah.
We're waiting on both Caltrain and VTA to update their schedule so that we know that we can make the necessary connections. So we're kind of in a holding pattern for that for now, because we'd love to get the information out as soon as possible. Well, we're pushing on them to get their information to us first. And we have confirmation that at the Gilroy ribbon cutting, Congressperson Zoe Lofgren will be attending, as well newly made Speaker of the Assembly, Robert Rivas, will be there as well, congratulating us. And then we'll also have a list of dignitaries attending our Salinas ribbon cutting as well, including, I'm certain, our esteemed council member Tony Barrera.
Right in the bus. Madam Chair, I have a question on that. Being that it is I invite everybody October 30th in Salinas. Are we going to be able to carpool to Gilroy, or any idea if board members want to go out there?
Take the bus.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll come up with
yes
options for getting up there and back, or carpooling up, taking the bus back.
Yeah, because
I know I have to leave directly after Gilroy to go to a conference down in Southern California, so I may be driving up and then leaving. I don't know what I'm doing yet. So there's there will be options for your board member, and we'll communicate. Board members will communicate how to get there from here.
Great.
And
because I'm sure some of my colleagues would love to rub elbows with Sacramento out there, and
absolutely
it'd be great. Thank you.
And I believe Director Carlos De Leon has his hand.
Oh, he does.
We unmute him.
He's unmuted.
Yes, I am. Chair, this is Mike Labar, taking over for Carlos now. I really appreciate my alternate stepping in. I just want to say I'm just so proud of MST, how they're continually listening to community input and finding solutions. I know we have heard several times from community members about having a route to Gilroy. So you guys have done a great job. You are a model agency, what other agencies around this country should be looking at, how we're doing the work here. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
We kicked off the line 55 to San Jose a number of years ago, and we did a lot of Do You Know the Way to San Jose? I am still trying to find a song about Gilroy. So if anyone knows any songs about Gilroy, please let us know.
Look it up.
I didn't find anything.
Kind of a weird name.
Nothing rhymes with Gilroy.
Doesn't rhyme.
So at this time, I am going to open this up to public, and I believe Christopher Wilmot has his hand raised.
Yes, greetings. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so on the new line 59, that's gonna be like being like on the schedule soon, is you want to be able to get like the early morning bus, 2 a.m.s and 2 p.m.s to make it a home run. You want the p.m.s to be able to catch the last 20 coming into Monterey. And you also want to be able to get the second 20 going into Salinas. Because then you won't have to worry about traffic being an issue, because I was looking at the how you say trends on trying to get up to Gilroy and also go to San Jose and all these other good places that we're trying to get to, especially when it comes from going vice versa, is you want it to be able to, sorry, trying to catch my breath because I was trying to find a place where I could stop to talk to you about the current situation. I actually have some slides I was gonna bring up next time, but I couldn't because I missed my bus to get to Ragsdale. It's called, you want to be able to have 2 a.m.s and 2 p.m.s going to Gilroy from Salinas. We also want to make sure that people from Carmel are able to catch the 20, then able to go to Salinas, and then be able to catch the 59 to go to Gilroy, then to San Jose, then to wherever at that point. Because I was looking at the schedule that is basically for like the Caltrain. No one's going to make that, because I was looking at it and it was like, yeah, there's no way this is going to work out unless it's going to be on the line 68 and 58, which would work out a lot easier coming there and back. And I say, like, if you're able to get the correct AMs and the correct PMs, you know, for like the line 59, it'll be a home run. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Welcome. Were you guys able to hear me of what I was trying to say? Because I just want to make sure the mic is working.
Yes.
We heard you and are taking notes. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys again.
And public comment is still open.
I do not see any other hands.
Okay, and I do not see anyone walking up to the podium, so we'll go ahead and close public comment, and I will bring it back to the directors. There is a recommendation on page 114 to authorize the general manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with Santa Clara Valley Transportation Agency for line 59 Salinas Gilroy for a 2-year partnership in the amount of $128,000, $28,750, sorry. So with that, I am looking for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
And we have a second,
Herrera and second by
Herrera
Pacheco.
and Pacheco,
With the money.
and roll call vote.
Joe Emilio in a close third.
Okay, City of Carmel by the Sea.
Yes.
City of Delray Oaks.
Yes.
City of Gonzales.
Yes.
City of Greenfield. Yes. City of King.
Aye.
City of Marina.
Yes.
City of Monterey.
Aye.
City of Pacific Grove.
Yes.
City of Salinas.
Yes.
City of Sand City.
Yes.
City of Seaside.
Yes.
City of Soledad absent, and County of Monterey.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passed.
Okay. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 7.1, the general manager CEO monthly report of June and July and May's in there. Page 150.
Should be, yes, it should be reports for June and for July. And so we have two separate reports. The June report is for the fiscal year ending June 30th. And our results for the year were pretty great. We had a little over 19% increase year over year. for the year ending June 30th, 2023. We are on a trend from starting in December through June of 25% or more increase month over month with the implementation of the Better Bus Network. So we were averaging about 11% growth from July through November last fiscal year. So we can expect to see, and we are seeing for starting in July, that healthy trend continuing. It started in December is going to continue at least through the next year. Then we'll see what the incremental growth on the Better Bus Network is. That'll be more interesting, I think, to see, and what our trend will be after that. So with regard to fiscal year end information, I think, you know, we hit all of our targets as far as ridership. The on-time performance for the MST rides for the year ending June 2023 was just at our minimum standard of 80% on time. It was at 80.2%. MV has been struggling with hiring drivers. We had a report at our operations committee meeting prior to this, talking about some of the strategies that MST is working together with MV to provide hiring incentives, and also to provide disincentives when they do things that are within their control that you know, result in poor customer service or lack of arrival. So it's been a combination of carrots and sticks with our contractor. Other than that, we've seen healthy growth throughout. So I want to really spend some more time on what you'll see starting with the July report is our new and improved monthly report that is the product of your board's ad hoc committee that consisted of Chair Velasquez, Vice Chair Carbone, and board member Barron from Carmel by the Sea, who met many times, I don't know, 4 to 6 times with staff, it seems, over the past 6 months or so, to provide a new format for your board to really match the intent of the Better Bus Network. We, in our vision for your board adopted a new vision of connecting communities, creating opportunity, being kind to our planet. So the thought was, well, how do we know when we're getting there? How are we going to measure those concepts? So we came up with the concepts of people, planet, and performance. And you'll see in your report a breakout of reports by that. We're reporting who's riding, why they're riding. Are they in disadvantaged communities? We learned during the pandemic that who is riding our buses and who's receiving our services is at least, if not more important than how many people are riding. And so we've been able to identify that. I think, you know, why we ride on page 198 shows some of the information that you just received in the marketing report. What a day without transit would be like with our passengers. Some of these numbers then feed into our greenhouse gas reduction, because we see so many people that would still find a way to get to their job. So if the bus isn't there, there are a number of people, 20% would end up not being able to get to work, get to school, get to medical appointments, which is a terrible outcome. And then 80% would still find some way to get there, and that would have a greenhouse gas impact. So we're keeping track of that. We're showing our operating impact, our budget impacts on page 201, what the induced and value added of MST spending in our community, how that helps the local economy. We're showing on pages 202, 203, various ridership statistics and on-time percentages, AM and PM departures, where people are leaving and where people are coming back throughout the day. On page 207, item 6, this is where we talked about using our social media transit app to get rider ratings on how people are rating our service. So you can see our highest rated top 10 routes. And we'll continue to refine this as we move on. Similar information for the rides program. A new report is on page 209, the rides on time passenger trips. That shows us how we're doing. 0 to 15 minutes is our required standard under ADA. And then we want to see, we want to grow that green. We want to eliminate the black altogether. That's the really unusual delays. It could be from, if you look at March and April, we had a lot of road closures and things going on with the storms and the aftermath of the storms and cleaning up the streets. So you'll be able to see impacts. I'm really interested to see what happened when we see August, the impact of Car Week on our on-time performance for both the MST fixed route and for our rides performance. We'll be able to start seeing those impacts of various events in our community and their impact on our passengers. Moving on to the planet, we're tracking greenhouse gas emissions, and we're trying to measure it in a way that is something less esoteric than tons of greenhouse gas emissions. It's a little hard to imagine what a ton of greenhouse gas emissions looks like. So we're looking at acres of forest sequestered gases annually. So these are in hundreds of acres of annual sequestration. That's the equivalent of. And then we're looking at numbers of single occupant vehicle trips removed from the roads as well. Moving on to C on planet, you see our transition to zero emissions. Currently only 6% of the way there of where we want to be by 2040. We'll take a big jump once we get that VW emissions grant and we can order those 12 buses, and we'll start seeing that number move over time. And then also, not all of our, just because we're not 100% zero emission today, there are things that we're doing like using biodiesel instead of regular diesel, and that's having a positive impact as well. So let's take credit for that too, at least until such point as we're 100% zero emission. Then we move on to performance. And these are more typical of what you're used to seeing, maybe in a little different format, a little more colors, more separation, unusual occurrences on board the buses, whether they're people requiring medical assistance or police assistance, types of service cancellations. You see the impact of our driver shortage on our service cancellations. And hopefully as we get more drivers, those cancellations will go down. But if you look at that top button, the top line still shows that we're serving and we're providing 99.95% of the service we're offering. We are canceling service, it's true, but it's a very small number overall. Miles between preventable collisions and safety indications, and then some preventable collisions. What type of collisions are we having? Those types that are preventable or non-preventable out in the community. Are they happening on the road? Are they happening in our bus yards? That's the type of information you'll find here. Then again, standard miles between mechanical road calls. How often does our vehicle fleet break down while in service? And we have standards for that. And without going through every single one of these charts, a lot of it is stuff that you have already seen, much of it just in a different format where we're trending out. And the goal will be over time, you'll see a 13-month period. So next year, you'll see from July 2023 to July 2024, and you'll see the trend. So you'll be able to start seeing seasonality. Because of the implementation of the Better Bus Network in December, mid-December, we're starting these reports January 2023 and moving forward. Because comparing the old network to the new network isn't really very valuable to you all because it was such a fundamental shift. And we were still in the pandemic. So we kind of, the world started over for MST and its reporting as of January 2023. That's year zero. And we're moving forward from there, and we shall never speak of the pandemic ever again. So with that, what came up on page 239, I think is an important new report, is the open positions. And you'll see bus drivers, mechanics, and other support positions. And you'll be able to track to see how well we're doing on some of these key positions, specifically bus drivers. Every quarter, you will continue to get an update on our strategic plan and performance update. And for this one, we had our June 30th, 2023. That is for the full year. So that's something that I'll continue to do for you every quarter, give you an update on where we are on the strategic plan and action plan for the year. So that's kind of the new monthly report format for you all. Be happy to Hear what you have to say. Mike in King City.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you for everyone who did the work on this. I had a question on, it's page 237 and 238, the awarded and pending grants and the active capital and operating grants.
Yep, skipped over
Are
those.
those separate numbers, or is the active and operating grants the breakdown of the awarded ones?
We're gonna have the person who puts that grant together, our grants analyst, Matthew Deal, respond to that question for you.
Thank you.
It's all the same numbers, just sliced and diced different ways.
Okay. I love this graphic because it really just shows how well MST and staff has just been maximizing every taxpayer dollars and leveraging it. So great work on there. I mean, it's almost, what is that, over $100 million just in the awarded. And is that just for this past year?
We have some that are still outstanding from prior fiscal years. They're considered active until we've used up all the funds and closed the grant.
Okay, so when we go forward on the awarded and pending grants, like next year, we'll start to see a year over year kind of where we're at. Or is it just going to be just for the total of that current fiscal year?
So it's just, we're reporting them on a quarterly basis. So this won't change until the next end of quarter because grants tend to not move very quickly. And so what you'll see is as the grants close and move from active or from pending into active and then into closed, you'll see those numbers kind of move through it. I don't have the chart in front of me actually, unfortunately. So, but we can talk about including maybe what was closed in the past year or something like that.
Okay, just for the board, I do think it would be important for the public to see is just that overall number of grants awarded in some metric. So like this year, it's showing over 100, or this quarter, this one right here. But it'd be good for the public to see how much that MST is leveraging their dollars for. And it doesn't need to show the breakdown, but just that total number you got in grants for the year. Something to consider, but thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your comment, Mike. Okay, any other comments at this time? Okay, this here does not require board action. I will open it up to the public, though it's on the agenda, so
Am I too late?
Lisbeth,
Sorry, I just had
well,
one
Lisbeth,
question.
before we do that. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had one question on page 228. The cost per mile, it seems that gasoline is still the lowest. Is this expected to change maybe with solar installations or?
Norm, any projections on where a battery electric can?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, I think zero emissions technology will come down, but as of now, it's more expensive to operate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I hope it will change.
Yeah, hopefully, right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise we need to budget.
We're mandated to move away from gasoline, so ultimately it's a moot point. And we'll make it fit to the budget.
Very good. Thank you.
And public, oh, yes.
Yeah, I would just like, as one of the three board members that was involved in sort of the revisions of these reports, I would definitely like to thank Carl and Lisa and Norm and everyone else. I see a lot of faces in the audience, and I know I see some more on Zoom. All of the staff members that helped us, help not just us, but help the organization build this set. It was a great team effort.
And on page 115, I have a list of about 15 employees who all touch this report and will continue to touch it every month from here on out. So thanks to all of them.
And I will go ahead and comment and follow up with Director Barron. Yes, it was a pleasure to serve on that committee and to work with everyone. So with staff, because they did a lot of work with this. So, and thank you for listening to all our comments and for making this report a little clearer.
And from the staff's perspective, I think your board is being extremely progressive. And I hope when you go to board meetings, transit board or other city boards, you talk about this process, about how we reframed what we define as success and how we measure it. Because for the vast part of my career, it's always been a numbers game and a finances game. And it was all about, the butts in the seats and the dollars in the fare box. And I think it was our experience through the pandemic that showed us who rides and how we're serving them and why they ride is also very important. And the greenhouse gas emissions piece of it is also very important. And we need to find a way to capture that to determine whether we're getting better. And this, I'm really proud of the output of that our team, board and staff have put together, and will promote this work product to the industry as well, because I think it's certainly something worth repeating.
Thank you, Carl. So no hands up there. Public comment is open.
Okay.
And public comment is closed. And this here is not an action item. It doesn't require action. It's informational only. Do we want to go to the next item, 7.2?
The remaining reports 7.2 through 7.5 are there for your review, and if you have any comments to make, now would be a good time. But there is no report for these other than they're in your packet.
Okay. And with that, we will go ahead and move on to board reports, comments and referrals 8.1. This is reports on meetings attended by board members at MST's expense. And I don't know if there were any.
I'm not aware of anyone traveling now. We haven't had anyone going to conferences on the board since the last CTA conference.
Okay, so that covers 8.1.8.2. And we will go ahead and move on to 8.2.1, that at the Transform Conference will be held in Orlando, Florida, October 8th through the 11th. Did we need to act on this or no?
No, we've had no board members express interest in going, and we do have some staff attending, as it's a once every 3-year trade show. However, I will not be attending personally. I have a personal commitment to attend to.
Okay, 8-2, MST's 50th anniversary of transit service. That was this September 1st, and congrats. I was unable to make it there. I believe that was a mayor's meeting, so was unable to be there.
September 26th will be the actual 50th anniversary of the first bus rolling out, and we are going to be producing some more social media content. Our marketing analyst Ursula just back from her honeymoon, and will be she put together some great videos of interviews with local public officials and other community leaders who grew up riding the bus, including our own Congressman Jimmy Panetta and various mayors and other community leaders. And the idea is to the director of Caltrans, Tony Tavares, grew up in Pacific Grove riding MST buses. The idea behind that is to show that, riding the bus is sometimes stigmatized, but it can be, people who are our community leaders at some point in time use public transit to get to their work, to get to their school and whatever. So we'll have a series of social media videos that will continue to run as we celebrate this anniversary.
Thank you. 8.3 board member referrals for future agendas. I believe we will have something coming later of a closed session, but that'll be automatic.
Right.
Okay. And
Madam Chair, we do have a hand raised.
We have Lisa Leho.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I apologize for showing up 40 minutes late, but it was the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 tragedy, and the Salinas Fire Department had a ceremony this morning, so that's why I joined in late. But wanted to obviously be there to support our first responders in this annual tradition, remembering all those we lost. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I would just announce that not tomorrow, but the following week, we are also recognizing MST on their 50th anniversary at the Board of Supervisors. So we have invited Carl to join us next week. Thank you.
Okay. I gotta check my calendar, so I'll be there though.
Okay, and report on Monterey County Regional Taxi Authority. 8-4. Anything, I think.
You have on page 279, just the highlights from the Regional Taxi Authority board meeting, so that's there for your review. They had a meeting.
And then item 9.1, there was an attachment, and that is the detailed monthly performance statistic and disbursement journal for June and July 2023. It's online. And it could be viewed within the general manager report. Okay, moving to item 10, closed session. At this time, any member of the public may address the board of directors on items related to closed sessions. And speakers shall have a limited time of 3 minutes. If you will, please be brief and to the point. The board will not respond immediately, but may choose to follow up at a later time through staff. And with that, public comment is open.
Mr. Chair, we do have LeVar with his hand raised.
Director LeVar.
Chair, I just had a question for clarification, since this is the first time I participated via this under regular Brown Act rules. No one is in the chambers, no public members, and I am on speaker. So is it appropriate for me to go to my iPhone for the closed session, or should I leave this on?
If no one else is in the room with you, you may leave it, remain as is.
Okay, but not my iPhone.
That's not necessary.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Question. Thank you for the question.
Okay, and public comment is still open on the first item 10.1. And this is conference with real property negotiator.
See no one?
See no one? Okay, and I see no one in the boardroom, so we will go ahead and close public comment, and we will at this time go into public comment. So did we want to excuse the
So there were two other items.
Yes.
There's another item. So do we want to take public comment on
Let's take
everything
public
before?
comment on all closed session items at this time.
And 10.3 is going to be postponed until next October, or till our October meeting. So if we could take public
Okay.
comment on 10.2,
okay.
we would be
So-
good to go.
So at this time, as well, we were going to be reviewing incentive pool for MSTEA and confidential unit and provide direction. So public comment is open on this item as well.
Nothing.
Okay, we will close public comment and we will excuse the public, or we will go into the board.
We're going to go into the board conference room. The folks who are online are going to be invited to join a, whatever you call them. You know the routine.
Yeah, so let's go in there and we'll try to take them in reverse order. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take them in. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Good idea.
And the second item hopefully shouldn't take long. Yes, we will. We will report out in here and Staff of regards there. Yeah. Good. So that's good, right?
Hey, Jeanette, is the next meeting October 9th?
Yeah.
It is.
Hey, do you want to get that? Upstairs.
What is the seating? Yeah, something volleyball. Your career, volleyball career is over now. I don't.
Also, you know.
Did great. Oh, I think like, no, I'm talking about the last oh. Oh, I know. That's only no now. That's about sometime. Here I said, I remember her, and so when I met her, actually, it was weird. Then we got married with her, but she said, oh yeah, my experience, the background. Yeah, she's. So that's what she's. And it's nice.
Hey, remember, I was mad, see you there, and she's like, have it, she was writing your hand, and telling me the details. And she's like, we can't lose it, so send her to the letter. One night, and today MST was celebrating their anniversary in Monterey, and then because Chris Dean, student there, and yes, but true. Send me this show video. No, we didn't get things. So she will connect. She's doing it great. She also is generous with her items. And so I've learned from this. And calendars and stuff. That was why I was I love seeing. Like the one I think I was there. I know what I do later. I didn't see that really see operators. Like this, that's the title. So how is it really hard that that's everything. It's you look at the difference of day, right? You're just like anything. Yeah, I actually he's like so bad. He's just and he knows the sad yeah. When you stress the pressure, it's bad. It's still what you thought, but you feel like, yeah. And I can't be like, you kind of when it's in the house, the house. In practice, I think I'm actually probably but pass through the place. So I have to like, things are gonna go on practice. So really watch, but we on the phones.
Yes, in person. No, like, no. Are you doing it? It's one of the worst. Against a wall instead of person. This for him is last. I mean, we already did here, but once in a while, he used to practice with us, which is nice, like it's like a week. And he said, well, it's still an opportunity to be recruited. No, he's been. I'm just. So running and I'm all done. Yes. Here's. And everyone's under. California. They pay for all your questions for the first 2 years. Population back. Oh, yeah, I think that's the. That's harder. Yeah. Oh, but she wanted to do that. Yeah. I use mine to go on. I put yoga and one such. Yes, that one. So one gonna go, she's in the car, one gonna go to the ranch. You're not part of the kid. That's really big. Because. It's hard to go. Yeah, so I'm texting asking or not. That's all. I did everything mostly, forms and so on, so you should check it out. Love her. Because other ones are. You learn something. And so that was looking about my yoga that I do, and I got. My house is a little.
Yoga with Renee.
No. Oh, Adrian, no, I like Sochi. I love her, she's. She's like. And tell me what you think. Send me. Yeah, I can. There you go. And you put it on along around the whole. I just don't do it. Or those do that, or you do it. Yeah, that's really. If I see. It's so cold. It's like, you know, like that side of the building was super cold, that one side. There's something I'm really cold. Yes, I mean. Mostly people are. Thank you. Right, the following, outfit, the costumes are up there. I decided my costume to ride with it. Saturday, so Joe and I were gonna do my. We went to change. No, actually, it was on the and then left. So when we arrived, we got a huge storm. It was 2 hours. It was perfect to go to an acting. And on the last day, we also had to do some 2 hours. So this time was a lot of there were like, yeah. I love it. I know it was gorgeous. I had so much so I share that with me where you know, and then yeah, when I was like that, I want to go back. Yes. Yeah, we went to June and just like for a day trip. Yeah. Yeah, it was super nice. Sometimes it was, you know. So if you just see me on the walking around. And because you know the kind of like city was resort just trying to I think we can I don't know. We did that. Next time I want to more time. So like that would work like on your meals and oh, because you're dining that's how we felt. Yeah. Oh, okay. Definitely make it both sound expensive, but yeah, we did. I think we're already. Yeah, my wife did outside too. Also, this resort was had like boarding, volleyball, and music. So it's all I'm showing the results. So it's kind of nice, especially if it's a big family, you know, everyone can just and whatnot. Everyone was together, yeah, well, you're so big, that's lovely, well, what's next? I'm sorry, is everybody else? No. The thing, we felt in long, that's exactly. I'm just. But I love it, so much. That's one of the things that exactly so. Because we got there. Have a dream for children, a lot of people. So then, I don't, I think those are just. I think something here, too, right? More, we don't know. I'm gonna cry. I know. Yeah, they're going out, going there and other. I have my from it, but I got the part, three part, but I was looking for, I'm working on it. As I have a hard time saying mission coordinates, I'm like, oh, I think I can say one. I said, hey, make sure you go. I thought it's your phone. No, I don't even. I have to know, I haven't seen it anywhere. Don't you do your house too long? Is it, independent optional too? Yeah, yeah. Does you have to call, I have to just buy the use. I've been teaching everyone. Well, because just for that reason, but he was supposed to be upside down. My opinion, everyone has to go around. That it counts. I don't think there's a lesson now. Remember, it was like, what we're gonna vote. Yeah, this is what we're gonna do. Like, I don't know, I believe he's way more political than even I think, so I don't worry about him. As long as it's not, yeah. And I tell my daughters, she knows it. I was 18. I think it's the foundation. They told me it's kind of friendly. I'm gonna be busted around. So next year, so because he'll be 18, you know, like when we have the I'll be like, what about us? You know, I really just saying that is interesting. We would love that you, who's gonna represent that much. Okay. And when yeah, because May election in November. Any primaries are. Yeah. Which makes sense, because if you can try, you would 60. Some, wasn't it recent, it was trying to do some, really, build and change the stuff. Yeah. But it's option. I won't. But then after 18 years, I was like, what happens? They're like, and I'm 100% sure about getting out the country. My mom always reminds me if I'm abroad, then she's 5'4". So you use that mail, or do you have to go in person, or you just spend in something? I send a justification and prove what I am. So right now I'm spending my money. You justify it even there, you have to walk there, so it's so much. That's a lot of, you don't have to say this in the world. It's a huge country, there's all those people who are up, you know, go somewhere, but eventually what's gonna give the word. Use your own time, but here you can find, oh, we did employers. I think they allow, it depends on the company, like Capital One, they allow us. Already, but people do, goes for 2 hours, I think, a day, much being for the past, sorry, but that's as important. Yeah, so for instance, if you mention like a week, they should know the result, they know. You know, may not. Yeah, I mean, we're on that, something that is midnight or 1 a.m. watching CNN, talking about this precinct or this, parish or this area that's coming in, it's kind of exciting. We're ready, yeah.
Everyone got a new shirt?
Yes.
We're, and they even a client. Wow. So can we like use these coins, put them like when we go to a conference, and if you don't have your coin, you're buying drinks?
Absolutely, a challenge going?
A challenge coin, perfect.
I know, she's got another meeting, so I can only go, you and I will talk. And then get ready. Okay, yeah. You can call us back in.
Okay, so we are re-adjourning back into open session, out of closed session, and
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I will report out on the two closed session items regarding item 10-1, conference with real property negotiators. Regarding the land in Seaside, the board did meet and they did provide direction to staff to continue its fact-finding mission. This will return back in closed session before any open session action item. Regarding the second item of consideration, item 10-2, this is reviewing the incentive pool for MSTEA and confidential unit. The board did meet and provide general direction. This will return in open session for action at its next meeting. That concludes my report.
okay, thank you. And so at this time, I will go ahead and get ready to adjourn, but before I do, I would like to for the board to take, I believe everyone heard about Lou Calgano. And so I would like to close this meeting in a moment of silence for him. And then with that, our next meeting will be October 3rd, 2023. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.